ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon, and we have something special for you. Listen, it's not every day that I get to interview someone who beat me for 2 Broadway World Cabaret Awards this year. It's fine, Jeff. I'm not mad. I came in second place. Second place is the first place loser. It's fine. Jeff has rabid fans who came swooping in and stole my... So we're here to settle a score. No, we're here to talk about a beautiful new album called The Collective Cy, a collection of songs by Cy Coleman. Let's get started. Jeff, welcome to the show. Welcome.
Wow, what a welcome. No pressure.
No pressure at all. I'm coming for you this year, 2023. Watch out.
All right. Yeah. It's your year, man. It's your year.
No, not with this gorgeous album. I was just Googling and researching, and your album, congratulations, is #1 on the Amazon charts for vocal music right at this moment. So everyone,
it's crazy.
Pre-order and grab a copy of A Collective Cy before we get started.
It's the 5th week that it's been #1. All I can think of is the bar must be very low.
No, I don't believe that at all. But if you want the link to get a copy, you can go to Jeff's website, jeffharnar.com. Jeff, firstly, before we get started on this album, when did you start singing? When did you realize you had the bug to be a performer?
Oh, very young, very young. The first role that I did was the little boy Winthrop in The Music Man. I was 9, and we had just moved to the Chicagoland area. My mom saw they were doing that show. That I had already seen my first Broadway show, so there were children in it, so I already knew that if that's a job, I want it. And so at 9, I did The Music Man, and there was a casting agent from Chicago, a very big name, Shirley Hamilton. So I had all my union cards when I was 10. So I had this thriving, flourishing career till my voice changed. and I've been reinventing myself for the last 40 years, 60 years.
Get out of here.
Crazy. Well, no, I'm not 69. I'm 64. Yeah.
You look amazing.
60 plenty.
You sound amazing, and you look amazing. And then that career from musical theater, at some point you decided jazz, cabaret, recorded music would be a place for you. This is your what? 6th album? How many?
It's my 5th album with Alex Rybeck, and it's my 6th solo album altogether. The last one last year was a Sondheim album with John Weber arranging and conducting. And this will never happen in my life again, that there are 2 albums 2 years in a row. It's an extraordinary thing. It was 17 years since my last album, so if anyone's listening, keep the dream.
Yes. No, it's so true. And what a gorgeous album. I want everyone to know that it's available Friday, September 8th, while we're here talking about it, and that it is a full orchestra, and Alex Rybeck, who is a genius, conducting and arranging, etc. And you have no shy list of amazing collaborators and duet partners on this. Would you tell us a little bit about how you came to collaborate with this list of names?
Well, that I'm sure is why it's staying on the Amazon, #1 things, because of the guest stars. So I went to high school with Liz Callaway and Hampton Callaway. Ann was a year ahead of me, and Liz was a year behind me. So we did shows together. Ann was Mame when we did Mame, and Liz and I did Kismet together. I was Haj, she was La Lume. So we've known each other a long time. And that they, so I've always known I wanted to just have 3 minutes with them preserved. So they both said yes, and they both came to the city to on the studio day to record with me. So for me, those musical reunions are hugely significant, and I think Alex gave us great arrangements for both those duets. So that's how they're there. And then we do the song "The Rhythm of Life" in our live show, but usually the bass player Jay Lenhart and Alex sing with me, but I thought for the recording, bring in some jazzers. So Nicholas King and Danny Backer said yes, and Nicholas Scatz, and Danny grabs his sax, his soprano sax, and we just had such a good time. And I still got to sing with Jay Lenhart on the Doodlin' song, so he's there too.
It is a beautiful lineup of vocalists from top to bottom. and then you're singing Cy Coleman music. Where did the idea come from that you said, this is the album, this is the time, I want to do this in particular?
Well, again, speaking to the hold true to your dreams. Alex, Sarah Louise Lazarus, who directed the show, and I first did it in 2006 at Feinstein's at the Regency Hotel, and there we were all lined up with to do a recording then with PS Classics, and the New York Times review was tepid. And all of a sudden, everyone took their toys and went home. So it just kind of languished that the album just didn't happen. So the fact that it's happening now, 17 years later, all I can say about that is do hold on to a dream. And also, as much as I loved singing those songs when I was in my 40s, they mean so much more to me in my 60s. There's just so much more life to draw on. There's a wonderful song that we found that was cut from Barnum called "So Little Time," and it's really just about how short it is, and I had both my parents when I first sang the song in my 40s, and I have said goodbye to them in the intervening years. So the song means something profoundly different to me than it could have back then. And that's the great thing about getting older and Cabaret.
So how do you, Cy Coleman has such an amazing catalog of music and so many songs. So how did you whittle them down? You have a collection here that are things from theater. You have a collection from popular music. You have songs that everybody knows, If It's the Best Is Yet to Come and Witchcraft. And then you find these gems and these hidden gems, these deeper cut numbers. So what was the process to finding the perfect set list for you to put together a collection of the music?
So I've worked with Sarah and Alex since 1989 is the first time the three of us collaborated, and that was a tribute to Comden and Green. And the template is kind of the same. We each go off and make a list of the songs that we think are a perfect fit for me. And whenever that song appears on all three lists, that's easy. And then Sarah and Alex are, scholars. So I usually get a lot of song titles I wasn't even aware of. So it starts that way. It starts as a team project, but I go off and do my first pass at what I think I want to say. So Cy Coleman worked with amazing lyricist David Zippel, his Tony Award-winning partner. He wrote the liner notes for the album. They did City of Angels. We have Carolyn Lee, Michael Stewart, and Dorothy Fields. So I, as a performer, start with the lyric. It really, first and foremost, I need to be a reliable, believable narrator of the words coming out of my mouth, and the music kind of takes a back seat to what the lyric is saying. So that always is my first, the first thing I'm looking at is what am I saying, and that's how we found our way through this set of songs. This song cycle.
I love it. That's my favorite. I think it's so clever. I am going to nerd out here with you as artist. And if you're not nerdy, give me 2 minutes. What is the process? What is your recording process? Do you do it in a day? Is it in a week? Do you lower your vocals live with the orchestra? How do you work in a recording studio?
Well, the PS Classics template is they do cast albums, so they like to do things in 2 days. Back to back days, which when you've got a Broadway cast and an orchestra that's well rehearsed, is up to speed, that works real well. It's very challenging when you're the only singer, when you're on every track. So, but that's how we begin. We began with 2 full days in the studio with a live rhythm section, piano, bass, drum, guitar. And that's when the Callaways and Danny Backer and those people all came in, was to sing those live vocals. And the intention is, some recording people call those scratch vocals, meaning that they know they're going to go in and redo them. But the PS Classics template is go for it, which means you're singing The Best Is Yet to Come 6 times in a row. I think you can't see her on the Judy Garland doing The Man That Got Away. They say that she just, even though it was pre-recorded when she filmed it, she gave her all, take after take after take. So anyway, that's how it begins, is with The bones are there in those first 2 days. Then we go back for 2 days. We went back 2 days with the rest of the orchestra, and they layered in the strings and the horns. And then I had the opportunity to go in and fine tune my vocals.
Yes, but how do you deal with an arranger? Because when you deal with Alex, does he send you ideas? Are you collaborative with him? Do you say the ball is in your court, knock your socks off? How do you, as the artist, collaborate with the creative team?
Well, so on this album, that happened 17 years ago, 18 years ago. We sat down and we talked about. I always have a very strong point of view on what the textures I'm looking for. Like, for instance, our Witchcraft, I knew that I couldn't be that hipster swingy Sinatra thing. I knew that, but starting with the lyric, it's right there in the lyric. It's absolutely a wonderful, sexy seduction song if you really take the lyrics. So I went to Alex and said, this is what I'm feeling. It's like, 3 a.m, pillow talk, kind of, really, really slow and sexy. And then he goes off and tinkers and comes back with what you hear on that album. And it's one of his extraordinary arrangements, is that arrangement of Witchcraft.
I love the art of arranging. I think it's something that most people don't speak about much anymore, unless it's the cabaret/jazz Broadway world. But this music, this Great American Songbook stuff, this is the arranging is just its own vocal. It's the stars of the show in many ways, and
Absolutely. I fell in love, like you, with Broadway musicals. I mean, that's what drew me to New York. But in high school, Barbara Cook came out with Better with a Band. And, she came out with the Live at Carnegie Hall first, but Better with a Band was the first time. No. Barbara Cook, as of today, was the first one I had. And that was when I knew the name Wally Harper was as significant as the name Barbara Cook. I mean, I knew someone had taken these songs and I'd never heard them rearranged the way that he did that. So that was one of my quests when I came to New York, was to find a Wally Harper. And I found Alex the very first time. We just celebrated 40 years since our first show. We did our first show June 13th, 1983. And how lucky is that we've had the gift of 40 years together. I mean, we're at the point where I can tell him, oh, I'd like to sing Look to the Rainbow. And he knows the key and my soul well enough that he can imagine how it might come out of me. And that's
true.
That I had that in my life is amazing. And he's also one of the best humans on the planet.
Well, I just saw Liz's show, 54 Below, and I've seen him play for many amazing, like, what a gorgeous piano player, performer, and arranger. So I'm looking forward to September 8th. We've got to make sure we grab this album, go get the website, go to Amazon, keep the number ones coming every week after week, Jeff. So then you're going to take this on a special concert tour with shows in Indiana, in St. Louis, in Chicago, in London, international, back across the pond, and then you come to New York on October 2nd. What can we expect, with more dates to come? What can we expect when we come to see one of your shows, especially in support of this project?
Well, we're going to be picking up a bass and drummer in each of those cities. So that's very exciting for us to meet new musicians and see what they bring to it. And the show, we're starting September 8th. The day the album drops is the day that we're at Feinstein's at the Hotel Carmichael in Indiana. And to go full circle from Feinstein's at the Regency, where it debuted, to Feinstein's at the Carmichael is really lovely. It'll be my first time in that room. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, every stop along the way. I'm going to a new room in the Chicago area called Hey Nani, which is about 10 minutes from where I went to high school, and a whole bunch of high school people are coming. So I'm very excited about that.
That is going to be a special show. I know I'll see you October 2nd. I think Birdland's a special place. I have to come, Jeff. I'm now personally vested in this experience with you. I'm so excited to hear your gorgeous voice in these arrangements live on stage.
That will be so fun having you there.
What do you know? I'm so excited. So what do you, when you put out 5-6 albums and you tour and you've done shows and you've crossed off that bucket list of performance ideas and guests and songs that you've wanted to sing, how do you come up with these ideas of what's next? Is it a song on the radio? Is it an idea in the shower? Is it where do you find your inspiration? What's your way of finding your way into these ideas?
Primarily, I go see shows. I'm out. I mean, tonight I'm seeing Goodnight Oscar, so that's not really a musical, but there's music in it. But I go see things. I listen. Truthfully, I'm not looking to create anything new right now. I also work as a director, helping other singers craft their shows. So I've got several of those underfoot that are all this fall are going to come to fruition.
How do you, and speaking from that, so you direct, being the director, and especially cabaret, especially concert experience versus a musical theater production, what do you, after the years of doing this and being all over, what do you contribute what is the definition of good cabaret? Is it what is it? I know that some people, I don't mean to keep rambling, but because I'm very passionate about the subject, some people feel when you say cabaret, they get nervous because they think of, this, all that jazz, kind of
Oh,
stereotypical cabaret. What breaks through to make good cabaret?
if in one word, intimacy. It's into me you see. It's why I love going to cabaret. I think it's transformational. I get, as an audience member, I get a catharsis. Somehow a good cabaret artist can take my heart just where I didn't know it needed to go. Um, I just think it's quite magical because as a performer, the audience is my scene partner. There's no fourth wall. So really, I can only rehearse so far, and then I need the audience because it changes based on who's there. And that's why I'm excited that you're coming. That'll be so fun to have a theater nerd that I can I can wink at.
Yes, I'll get it.
Yeah, you will. Do you recognize that vamp? You'll be like, oh, I do.
I too. No, I'm excited. Well, the album, A Collective
Oh,
Side, as we said, it's coming out in September. If people want to follow and stay up to date, they could go to your website, jeffharnar.com. We can follow you on social media, jeff.harnar. And I'm just to have an album back to back years, orchestras, guests, tours, and to do it as beautifully as you do it. Congratulations. I know this is not,
thank you.
it is a labor of love. None of us are doing it to become millionaires. We do it because we love it. And thank you for.
Sylvia Sims said something so beautiful. She was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, and she was the great saloon singer. I mean, Frank Sinatra studied at her feet. She said wanting to be a performer is having a very fickle mistress. It will tease you, it will taunt you, it will disappoint you, it will let you down, but when it kisses you full on the mouth. So I'm getting a nice French kiss this year.
That is that is the perfect. See, Jeff, that's why you can beat me every year. You are a class act. You are a class act, and I am so honored and grateful for you stopping by here with us and sharing this information because it makes us we're inspired and we are empowered by seeing your work and art, and we know it's possible to do the same. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for saying the word empowered. That for anyone listening, that this is the cabaret is where you can take the power back from the panel and fulfill your own dream. And it's a small dream, but it's 60 people at a time, 80 people at a time. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to fulfill your dream.
That's 100% the truth. I be the own yes. I'm tired of the years of waiting for casting directors and people to say there's a place for you. You fit this mold. You fit this type. And then when you get to step on stage and do cabaret and build your own story and you are your yes. You get to do
That's
it.
right. And the bar is you. My challenge is to be as authentic and and personalize the lyrics as much as I can. This is the only bar. I'm not going to Judy. There are people who do these songs that I could never touch, but as long as I bring, anyway, that I agree. It's wonderful to do a self portrait every now and then instead of trying to fit everyone else's template.
Agreed. Jeff, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you
You
sing.
are second.
We can't wait to stream the album and buy the album. Grab your copy today. Thank you so much. Such an honor.
Thank you, Robert.